Good afternoon. If you're in South Central, you can expect to see a sunrise very similar to this tomorrow morning. Thank you, Teresa, for your photo. We're looking ahead to a winter storm warning that is going to last through Wednesday in western Alaska. This is going to bring some coastal flooding and a wintry mix along the Seward Peninsula all the way down into the YK Delta. As a result of this storm, we're also looking ahead to some snow incoming for South Central. So that's something that you can expect moving into Monday to kick off your work week. So as we begin to look ahead at our satellite and radar, we have all of these colors lighting up western Alaska. You can already see this blizzard warning, a brand new impact moving in from the storm that is sitting off in the Bering Sea. Now, you can also see all of these colors spanning off with our radar, and we can see some snow moving in through areas like Dillingham, even some snow starting to push its way towards South Central. Now, this is a result from a frontal boundary moving in from that low pressure system, so we can expect to see a lot of widespread snow pretty much all across from western Alaska into South Central. Now, even more impacts are going to be felt into southeast as this shift comes from this jet stream that is part of this low pressure system, but this is the big storm that we're really looking ahead to. This is what brought impacts overnight last night and from today, but then this is going to continue to start your work week. So looking ahead, here's just another view as to what you can expect. This is that front that I was mentioning. This is all of that moisture brought in from that low pressure system. So this is going to bring moderate to heavy rainfall into areas like Seward, the Copper River Basin, as well as into southeast Alaska. Now that's going to come through tomorrow morning into the afternoon for South Central, but then more towards the afternoon for Juneau. So that's just something that you can expect. You can see that timestamp right there. 3 p.m., we're expecting to see that snow into higher elevations spanning from southeast Alaska all the way up into areas like Anchorage. So we can expect to see that moving in for tomorrow afternoon. But widespread snow is also expected for South Central and even to areas like Bethel and Nome. And that's from that winter weather advisory that we're looking ahead to as a part of this storm. Now for snowfall, this is another impact coming from this system. We're expecting very little snow to start to move through in the morning into areas like western Alaska, but then that'll build slightly pushing into the afternoon into Tuesday. So we're expecting about 2 to 4 inches of snow into Anchorage. And I'm going to tell you this now, and I'm going to mention this later as well. There's going to be warmer temperatures moving in through certain areas of South Central, such as the Copper River Basin and into Seward. Now that would bring more rainfall than snowfall, and you would expect to see a little bit more snowfall in these areas, and you can even see that highlighted with some areas expected to see about 9 inches of snow. But since those warmer temperatures are above freezing, we're expecting mostly rain for those portions. But since we're seeing colder temperatures into areas like Anchorage and even for areas like Kenai and Homer, we can expect to see about 2 to 4 inches of snow for those regions specifically. Now, just looking at the rainfall from this storm system, we're going to see just a little bit more expected into certain areas of South Central. Anchorage might see a little bit of a mixture, but we're mostly expecting to see some snow moving through. But most of these rainy impacts are going to come into southeast Alaska. Not too much rain is expected into areas of western Alaska, just about 0.2 of an inch expected for Bethel. So here's another view of that rainfall for southeast Alaska, nearly an inch expected in Yakutat and over an inch expected into Juneau. So these are things that you can keep in mind for your work week tomorrow. Now just looking at southeast, mostly rain, a little bit of a snowy mix. Now this snow might come in the overnight hours when those lows are sub-freezing, but light snow is expected in the more southern portions of the Panhandle. Now looking towards the interior, we're seeing those temperatures still pretty chilly, but they are working their way up. As we move into the slope, very quiet weather, those temperatures staying very chilly. But over towards western Alaska, all these colors are highlighting up the entire region. You can see blizzard warning, coastal flood advisory, as well as that winter weather advisory. Temperatures are staying a little chilly, but they are beginning to warm up, especially in areas like Bethel up into the 30s, as opposed to what we saw in the 20s last week. So expect some rain and a wintry mix. Wintry mix is expected for those areas a little bit chillier, like in Unalakleet, as well as Nome, where those temperatures are sub-freezing. Over in the Aleutians, we're expecting a little bit more rain to push on through, mostly for those areas such as St. Paul and Dillingham. Now for South Central, this is what I was going to bring up, and I did bring it up earlier. We're seeing more of that snowy mixture into the overnight hours for areas like Seward, but mostly rain is expected tomorrow, not so much for snow. Snow is expected in the overnight hours for areas like Whittier and Valdez, but you see those temperatures are above 32, so that's why we're mostly expecting to see rain during the day. Now, for the valley and even into Anchorage, we are expecting to see about 2 to 4 inches of snow since those high temperatures are still staying a little bit chillier. So looking at our 7-day, expect some snow to move on through, high temperature reaching near 30 degrees. And then over for Fairbanks, we're also expecting to see that climb in temperatures as we progress throughout the rest of this work week. Michaela?
Thank you, Bailey.